seconds before we get down.
No rush. Just let me know.
Make sure everybody's telephones are off and the other Are you good? Okay, Chief, we're good.
Good. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Chief Fenner. The mayor's here today in support, as always, in our city, providing everything we need as resources. He's received a few calls, just as I did, and he wanted to stand, so he'll be here. Let me speak to the human element first before we do anything. I spoke to this young man's mother just an hour ago. Flew in here from out of town. I want everybody to understand the pain of the victim, their family. We stand with them in this city, in this police department, and everybody that's standing behind me. I want to thank our homicide unit under the direction of Commander Spears for doing great work time and time again. I'm going to speak briefly, and I'm going to turn it over to the homicide investigator Arrington, Commander Garcia, to come up and translate in Spanish, and he'll go over some of the investigative parts, but it is just right. We understand and we know it. This morning at about approximately 2:34 a.m., officers received a call of a shooting in progress. Officers arrived there shortly thereafter. The location is a downtown location, 1 San Jacinto Street, here in the downtown area. Once officers arrive, has been identified as Kersnick Ball, better known as Takeoff. And he's a member of the Migos rap group out of Atlanta. And I want to pause again, because sometimes the hip-hop community had name. And I know, and evident from this city and people who I have a personal relationship, great people in our hip-hop community, and I respect them. But back to Takeoff. I got many calls from Houston, and everyone spoke of what a great young man this is, how peaceful he is, what a great artist. And I'm calling up on everybody, our hip-hop artists in Houston and around the nation. We got to police ourselves. It is so many talented individuals stand together and make sure nobody tears down that industry. And I'm calling to start here in Houston, here and possibly as early as next week. I want to with some of our artists and see how we can taper things down. Right now, I'm going to turn it over to the investigator, and we'll our commander translate, and the mayor is here for questions as well. But I want to pray for, ask that we all pray for his mother, his family, and I'm still right now. Thank you. Investigator, come on up.
Thank you. Thank you again, Chief, and thank you all for coming here, and good afternoon. Sergeant Michael Arrington. I'm a sergeant with the Houston Police Department's Homicide Division, and earlier this morning, as he said, our patrol officers received a call at approximately 2:34 a.m. of a shooting that just occurred at the 810 billiard and bowling alley. From there, we were notified that there was a single male who was shot and pronounced deceased on the scene on the 3rd level, just outside the front door. We were also that 2 other individuals had reported themselves by personal vehicle to local area hospitals on their own, both of them with non-life-threatening injuries, but a 23-year-old male and a 24-year-old female. Both of them are going to be okay, and we have spoken. The establishment notified us that there was an incident that occurred after the party had ended. There was a private party. Then after that ended, there was a large group of people who gathered at the front door area just outside of the building, and it led to an argument where the shooting took place from the disagreement. A lot of the people that were there fled the scene and did not stick around to give a statement. So we're asking them to either call us at the Homicide Division at 713-308-36. They would like to remain anonymous. They can call Crime Stoppers at 713-222-TIPS. We're looking for any information at this time, any videos, any information, videos. We need all of y'all to send those to us so we can solve this case. We're looking for anything to help us. From there, as the chief said, we want to find justice for this family. They're going through a lot right now. And the only thing that we can do is hope that y'all reach out and assist us and get charges and arrest on the person responsible for the death of Takeoff.
Thank you. Let me say something right quick, just to follow up. This is Houston. And every brother and sister in the neighborhoods, I'm calling you to action, to step up. There were 40 people at least at this event. And people left possibly out of fear. So I ask you once to resonate with everybody. What if it was your brother? What if it's this family who's hurting right now? Commander, come up and translate for us. Thank you.
Muy buenas tardes a todos ustedes. Antes que nada, le queremos dar el sincero pésame a la familia de la víctima. El nombre ha sido identificada como Karshnik Ball. Tenía el apodo de Takeoff. El individuo le dio su más sincero pésame en persona y también le dijo la mamá cómo era una persona de paz. Y toda la información que hemos obtenido hasta este momento indica lo mismo, de que este individuo era una persona tranquila, que no era violenta, que simplemente estaba en ese lugar donde había una reunión privada. El lugar de los hechos fue en el 1201 de la calle San Jacinto. El lugar se llama 810 Billiards and Bowling, que en español es billares y boliche. En el tercer piso, aproximadamente a las 2:34 de esta mañana, sucedieron los hechos. Al terminar el evento privado, salieron del lugar y afuera de las puertas de este negocio fue cuando hubo alguna disputa, una discusión. Están en un hospital local y van a su alcalde y a nombre del jefe de la policía le hacemos un llamado a la comunidad, no nada más a la comunidad musical de hip hop, pero a toda la comunidad, de que lleguemos al final del uso de la violencia con armas de fuego. Un llamado para que entre todos se resuelva este caso y le demos justicia. Una vez más, si había 40 personas mínimo en el lugar, si alguien huyó del lugar por temor, les pedimos homicidios al 713-308-3600. Y si quieren permanecer anónimos, háblenle al 713-222-TIPS, TIPS. Chief, you want to open up for questions?
Chief, let me just say, just before turning back over to Chief Fenner, as you have heard, a private party last night of about 40 people. People know who the actual shooters were. And let me just ask, like has already been asked, that anyone who has information on the shooters, to provide that information to HPD, and let us solve this situation. Let us bring justice to this family. But I'm asking for any of the persons who were at this private party that know that have information on the shooter, information to HPD, and let us solve it. We will solve this particular case. We will find the shooters, but provided we'll help to expedite that. But we will. I do want to extend my condolences. How famous you are. You may not be famous at all. Anybody who loses his or her life is a life loss. And there are family members and friends who are grieving as a result. What I've consistently said over the last several months is that I'm concerned with this age group, this young group between 16 and 24, let's say 16, 24, 16 and 30, young men of color that are killing young men of color. And we do need to have that conversation. We do need to deal with it head on. This was a private event coming at the end, and then we have the shooting, and now one person is no longer with us. And it's not just in the hip-hop community with this demographic, where people are no longer resolving their disputes or their arguments through a fist fight. But now everybody has access to guns, and so when there's a disagreement, people pull their guns and they start shooting, and then people are fatally and killed, or people are injured, and that's unfortunate. In my day, you have a disagreement, fist fight, and you deal with it. In this day, if there's a disagreement in those young men of color that are being injured or fatally killed, and their future is cut off, and family members and friends are left to mourn. This does not have to be our reality, and it need not be our future. And this particular incident, what I would say to the people in this city and even beyond, we let us bring the persons of persons to justice, and we will. And then we will continue to move to make our city a safer city. It's disappointing after putting in place One Safe Houston, which is still in place, when the numbers are trending in the right direction, when homicides in the city of Houston are below, 11% below last year, when the numbers of violent crime in almost every category are down in comparison to last year. But one incident, one loss of life through shooting is one too many, irrespective of the numbers trending in the right direction. So, and it will be addressed. But if you have any information for those in the hip-hop community, to those who were there last night, let us work to quickly resolve it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, go ahead.
There is some speculation on social media that Takeoff may not have been involved in the beat of whatever went down. Is there any indication that he had been crossfire or even perhaps shot by a associate of his?
I don't want to speculate, but I do want to say, based on expected nonviolent, I would not expect him to be involved, okay? But I do want to wait on the investigation, but we have no reason to believe that he was involved in anything criminal at the time, just as people describe him, loving, great entertainer.
Was there a dice game going on when this happened? Was that the root of the altercation?
That's still part of the investigation. I don't want to speculate on that. I want to determine that, and we're still on the early stages. It's only happened a few hours ago, I meant to say. So, go ahead.
Can I ask you were the detective, based on the shell cases that you found there and other information, how many firearms were used in this incident?
At least two right now, and with the processing of the scene, and we trace casing, so we're in the process of doing that.
So it sounds as though the suspect or suspects were at this private party.
We believe so. Yeah. Go ahead.
Outside or inside?
Outside.
You don't believe Takeoff may have been the intended target?
I'm not comfortable in saying that. I don't want to speculate, not at this time. Go ahead.
But based on the comments of young men killing black men, do you think this individual is the suspect might be younger than, let's say, 20?
I think they were probably all in their 20s, okay? But again, I don't like speculation. We want to wait until we nail it down. I want us to all understand the family is hurting, and I don't mind the questions. I mean, that's a part. I want to make sure that we're taking them into consideration. But we are gonna, bottom line, mark my word, and mark it. this great city, with our police department, we will find who's responsible for it. Go ahead.
Chief, the artistic roots to hip-hop run very deep in the city. Are you a little surprised that 40 people stepped up and
I don't want to judge them at this moment right now. I want to call them to action. And the mayor said, and this is very important, and I don't want my message to get twisted up either, because the text of the message that you're trying to bring. It's not just hip-hop. It is that age, and we need to give them some help. Be there and support them. Now, there's a few in any population or any community that are just evil. And that's a very few. And I don't know the backgrounds of these people. Let out who did it. Let us do our investigation. But those individuals that I talked about that are committing crime after crime, don't know if this is the case here, but we do have at least two individuals in custody, okay?
Chief, I know you mentioned that...
Let me get her, and then I'll come back. I want to get, and then if we got time, we'll get back. Yes.
Right now, no suspects, no one detained. Any surveillance footage out there?
We're viewing it as part of the investigation, and that may uncover something, but the best thing that we have, because even if we have a face, the best thing is somebody can stand up, because somebody knows exactly who it was. And I'm really confident that somebody's going to step up. Anybody over here, and then I'll come back to you.
Did the argument...
And I'll come back to you.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Chief, did the argument start at the party, or was it an argument or a disagreement that had...
That's still part of the investigation. At some point, I think there was a disagreement on something, and we're still trying to determine that and work that out. But again, once we determine it, we'll put it out there. Okay? Go ahead, sir.
Chief, is there anything you can share with us about the private party?
I don't know right now, just the private party at that location. That's going to be part of the investigation. Talk to management. We need to talk to individuals who were actually there. A lot to go in this investigation, still early on. Go ahead, Sinjay.
Could you just talk a little bit about, where...
This probably 1,000 times, over the last year and a half or so. Go ahead, Mayor.
Let me address that, because I want to make it very clear that this is not a Houston unique situation. And I know all this year and all these months, people have been trying to make this a Houston unique situation. Just this morning, I'm looking at all the crime stats of all of the major. It's not the worst city. Far from. Okay? Every city in this country is facing issues. But the good news in this city, what I can say, is that we are trending in the right direction. We have 46 fewer homicides this year. If it was 46 more than last year, you'd be hearing about that. And you would be reporting on that. But no one is reporting that we have 46 fewer homicides this year than the same time last year. Homicides 11% below where we were last year. But I will say this was not an incident that happened just like in an open club, where people can come in and come. And based on the investigation of about 40 people, it is important for the hip-hop community, for everybody else, for the city, for the family. It is important for those who have information on who the too many young men of color that lives are being cut. And that has to stop, because that's tragic. And so I want to again to plead to the persons who were there, who have information, give HPD law enforcement that information so we can solve this situation sooner rather than later. So you don't have others out there trying to solve it for themselves. Okay? We owe that to Takeoff's mom and to the family. And I want the mother to know and the family members to know that this city is praying for them. And we value their family members' life. Okay? And we intend to solve it. And that's why we're all standing here. We intend to solve it. Okay? Because these type of shootings just can't happen, and then we move on to the next one.
The shooting occurred, and is he working with investigators?
I'm not sure exactly who was there. We're going to determine that. One, go ahead.
The two people who were injured, were they friends of Takeoff? Or
We don't know the relationship right now. We just know that they're in a hospital. I think our investigators had an opportunity to briefly talk with them, but they're being tended to. So we'll get back at them maybe later on today or tomorrow.
were they shot also, or do you know their
Yes. Go ahead.
Chief, I wanted to go back to something you mentioned earlier. Outside of the revolver evidence and people to come forward, as kind of we're used to hearing, I felt like you had a moment there where it almost felt personal here. And I'm just curious for everyone to hear one more time. For the dozens of witnesses who saw this play out, what is your message to them?
You asked for my personal, put it on Troy Fenner, but I'm proud of my city. I love this city, this department. And I know the heart of our people. I spent the majority of 55 years in this city. And I know what we're about. So that's what I'm trying to wake up. And if I got to do that and calling people, that's what I want to do. And it is personal. But it's not only personal for anybody that's killed in our city. Like our mayor has said time and time again, you take it personal. And I don't know how now. It may, I don't have any gray hair because I'm bald-headed, okay? It may do that to me. Strong men and women on our team, and we're going to get justice for this family.
And for the witnesses who saw this play out, what would you ask them?
Just step up. Real simple. Just like I said. I've always said, people, if it was your family member, what would you want them to do? Real simple. Let's get.
I was just going to ask you.
And I'll come back to you.
Speaking of the personal angle, from your office, you can clearly see Green Street, probably the spot where this happened. In general terms, though, downtown, the entertainment district, this is highly unusual, no? Especially when you consider all the fans here for the World Series, too, who may be looking at this from afar thinking, what's going on in here?
We want to put it in perspective. Crimes can happen anywhere, but don't forget, private event. And I'm not trying to diminish it in any. It's a private event. And got a great city with a lot of great people. And we're going to be fine here. But we got work to do. And I'm going to take two more. Because all my investigators are behind me and they got to get back, okay? I'm going to get you and then I'm going to come back at you, okay? It's all right? Yes, ma'am.
Chief, did the party end at 2:30 or was this group outside for quite some time?
I'm not sure on that. I hope events are ending at least at 2 a.m. That's part of the investigation, but I know the shooting did occur outside. Okay? Yeah, go ahead.
Chief, at this time, do you guys know how many times Takeoff was shot?
I don't know right now. Unfortunately, he has to. The autopsy will take place, and that, I don't know, probably sometime tomorrow they'll get that information to us again. I don't want to speculate, but again, in closing, pray for that. Pray for everybody involved. His mom. I don't know her, but my heart goes out to her, and people don't understand the human element. And that's what we want these young men to think about. Stop just pulling the darn trigger. Think and calm yourself down a little bit, but that's what we got to work on as a society. So thank y'all. All right.